Today we're diving into a product that I've had the chance to really get to know, the Orange Crush Mini Guitar Amplifier Combo. If you're anything like me, you're always looking for gear that's just not compact but also powerful and reliable. I picked this bad boy up, and let me tell you, it's been a fun journey getting to know this little amplifier. In this review, I'm going to break down everything from sound quality, build, portability, and even how it feels to gig with this mini amp. I'll share my real thoughts because we don't have time for the fluff. I'm always looking for the best bang for my buck, and let me tell you, this amp does not disappoint. We're going to keep it real and dig deep into what makes the Orange Crush Mini a must-have, or maybe something to think twice about, depending on your needs. So, if you're considering this for your practice sessions, bedroom jamming, or even something like a small gig, sit back and let's dive into it. So, when this amp showed up at my doorstep, I was surprised at how small and light it was. The box was pretty compact, nothing too crazy. I mean, it's called the Mini, so you already expect a small form factor. But even so, when you first take it out of the box, it's clear this amp means business. The design of the Orange Crush Mini has an iconic vintage orange look. It's sleek and retro but still minimal. The orange Tolex covering is eye-catching without it being too over the top. It's not a big amp, so it doesn't take up much space. It's perfect for a small practice area. I could totally see this fitting in my bedroom or living room without it dominating the whole room. So let's take a look at it. So it comes in this plastic, and it has a manual. First thoughts looking at this, doesn't have any of the power cords or aux cords, so you have to buy those separately. And obviously the guitar port, you have to buy your own guitar cord. It has the headphone jack and our speaker connection. Alright, on the bottom looks like it comes with a battery. Has a battery inside already, so you won't have to buy one of those. Alright, so let's talk about the controls. So the controls are straightforward. You've got the volume knob, the tone knob, the gain knob. There's no complicated mess of settings to figure out here. This simplicity is a blessing, especially if you're just trying to plug and play without wasting time finding different tones and the different settings. So if you're not into figuring out like different tones on the amplifier, this is perfect for you. So let's look at this more. Let's talk about the build quality and durability. First off, even though it's compact, this amp feels solid. It's made from sturdy materials. The orange grill cloth looks so clean. I had amps in the past that feel like you could just drop them once and they be done for, but the Orange Crush Mini feels like it's built to last. You also get the classic orange aesthetic, which has a unique charm. You can't help but feel like you're holding something that's part of a legacy. Look at this thing. Even though it's a mini version, it's the type of gear that looks good whether it's sitting on your desk or stage at a local gig. One thing that I'll say is that it's more than sufficient. You'll have no problem picking it up, moving it around. It's small. It's literally a small amp, so portability is a huge bonus here. And you're not worried about all this luggage moving around of a full-size amp. Literally, I'm just palming this. So this is a great amp. The knobs on the amp feel solid too. Check it out, man. They don't feel cheap or wobbly. You get that satisfying feel when you twist them. That's something that often gets overlooked in similar amps, but not here. So next, let's talk about the portability. Can you take it on the go? Portability is huge. Seeing point for me. I'm all about gear that I can take anywhere without it being a hassle. If you ever been to a gig or jam session, you know how heavy full-size amps can get. And I can't even tell you how many times I've had to recruit friends just to help me haul my gear around. It's a big hassle. That won't be a problem with the Orange Crush Mini. This is meant to be. This amp is incredibly light, literally less than 3 pounds. It's small enough to fit into a backpack if you got the sleeve for it. Or you can just grab it by the hand and just go. It's seriously like one of those amps you could easily throw into your car and take with you wherever you need to be. And here's a huge bonus. It runs on 9-volt batteries. Literally. So it runs on 9-volt batteries. Look at that. 9-volt batteries. As well as a standard power supply in the back here. You can totally take it outside or anywhere without it being tied to a wall or outlet. You literally could just take it on the beach. I mean, you might as well, right? Or even out to like the porch jam session, or you get the point. The portability is the point. So now let's talk about the sound quality. How does this thing sound? This is like literally the meat of the review. The big question is, how does it sound? I'm not gonna be straight with you, or maybe I will be straight with you. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100. It sounds way better than I expected for an amp this size. It's a mini. First off, don't think you're gonna get earth-shattering volume out of this amp. I mean, come on, like, this compared to a big amp, it's not gonna fill up a stadium, obviously, but it's loud enough for like personal practice, small jams, or recording ideas on the fly in the bedroom or small studio. This thing can rock pretty decently. I'm just trying to be honest here. It can rock pretty decently. When you crank the gain knob, it gets crazy overdrive sounds. It's like a amp it's having a conversation with you with your guitar in a way that that's tight but still smooth. If you can get that warm distortion, and it retains clarity even when you hit the heavy riffage. So that's one thing to look into. The amp doesn't get muddy at all, which is something I love, especially if you're someone who loves the feel of a good crunch, but doesn't want to sound like a chaotic mess, if you know what I mean. So the tone is pretty responsive too. I've been able to dial some nice crisp highs, and you can adjust the bass enough to get the satisfying low end thump, but don't expect to get too heavy. It's a small speaker, so there's limit to the amount of depth you'll get on your low ends. But for practice and small jams, it's more than adequate. Small jams. Small jams. It's more than adequate. So the clean tones are surprisingly good for such a tiny amp. If you're into bluesy or funk stuff, you can get those smooth, clean tones that ring out with clarity. I was able to get some nice, jangly tones for indie rock vibes, and when I backed off the gain, it cleaned up a little bit and it sounded nicely, giving me a great tone for more melodic lines and or fingering. Now let's talk about the battery life, because this thing has 9-volt batteries. What is the battery supply? Let's talk about the power. The Orange Crush Mini uses a 9-volt battery, or can be powered via AC adapter on the back here. So the 9-volt battery option is especially handy when you're on the go. And I was able to get a good amount of playtime out of it. In terms of longevity, I'd say you can get a few hours out of a fresh battery, depending on how hard you're pushing the amp. You gotta listen to that. But if you literally plan on doing an extended jam session, I suggest having an extra battery on hand or just using the AC adapter. Your choice. This thing has options, man. The fact is that it's the fact that it's battery powered makes it perfect for those spontaneous jams or situations where you don't want to worry about finding the power outlet. Again, this is all about portability. This is convenience here. The Orange really nailed the aspect with the Crush Mini. So this thing is versatile too, man. Like what who is this amp for? I gotta say, this amp is super versatile for its size. Literally, it's just the box, or maybe more. If you're looking for a small practice amp to noodle around with at home, then this is absolutely perfect for you. It's a great choice for bedroom guitarists, people who like to practice on the go or gig on the go, even musicians who want some sipping or simple recordings. So it's good for you guys. And if you're playing like a small venue too, you could even use it as a backup amp or as part of a larger ring in a pinch. This is like a backup plan. So if you're like me and gig around small cities, I could definitely see this being a solid choice for quick acoustic gigs or lower volume settings. Electric guitar. Um, this isn't gonna replace a full size amp in a larger venue, but that's not the goal. It's meant for those smaller settings, solo jams, or even just experimenting with different sounds in a controlled space. I can easily see this being like an essential part of a guitarist toolkit. Um, I would love to have one of these as like a backup plan, but is it worth it? Let's talk about that. Let's see if this is actually worth it. At the end of the day, in my opinion, the Orange Crush mini guitar amplifier combo is a winner. It's small, portable, sounds great, and delivers way more than you'd expect from a small size. If you're in need of a reliable practice amp or something that can go with you on the go, this one checks all of the boxes. It's it's not the louder or most or loudest. It's not the loudest, or the most feature packed amp out there, but for the price, you're getting great quality sounds, portability, and a signature orange tone that guitarists love. Whether you're looking or rocking out at home or jamming with some friends, this amp will serve you well. I recommend this to anyone who needs a solid, budget friendly, portable amp that punches well above its weight. It's great for beginners, intermediate players, or even seasoned musicians looking for something small to take around. All in all, it's an investment. I'm glad I made it. Um, and I suggest you check it out too.